Have you ever hated someone so much you try to become them? I used to count the hairs on my arms every night. Now I wake up tangled in hers, and she's not even dead. Before I tell you what happened, tell me, where you watching G from? I want to know who's listening right now. The dream came back again the next night. Same thing. Elise sitting on the end of her bed, brushing her hair like always. But this time, she didn't stop. She just kept brushing. Over and over. Even when the strands started to pull loose. Even when the skin started to give way. I watched her scalp peel back like a cap. Underneath, it was smooth, pink, clean, almost. And I reached for it. I woke up before I touched it. I told myself it was just a dream. Weird dreams happen. Hormones. Stress. That's what adults say when they don't want to know the truth. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. Her hair, the way it slid through the brush, the sound it made. The next morning, I found one of her hairs in the hallway. Just one. Long pale gold. Curled at the end like a question mark. I picked it up and carried it in my palm like it was alive. After that, I started finding more. On her pillow, in the shower drain, tangled in her hairbrush, sometimes 15 or 20 strands at once. I'd wait until she left the room. Then I'd collect them carefully, wrapping each one around my finger before tucking it into the back of my school notebook. I started keeping track. I gave each strand a date. Some even got names. I told myself it was just for fun, just a collection. Like stamps or coins, only softer, more personal. I stopped using my own hairbrush. It didn't feel right anymore. My hair was coarse, dark, boring. Hers was bright, weightless, like it belonged to someone perfect. Some nights, I'd lie in bed and pull out a strand from her collection. I'd run it across my face, close my eyes and pretend, just for a few seconds. I'd imagine what it would feel like to have that hair growing from my head, how people would look at me, how different everything would be. And one night, this part one haven't told anyone, it whispered. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even a voice exactly, just a sound, somewhere between a hiss and a thought. It said, "You'll never have me." I didn't flinch. I didn't even blink. I held the hair tighter, pressed it against my cheek, and whispered back, "Wanna bet?" It got worse after that. The hair didn't feel like enough anymore. Just holding it, smelling it, brushing across my cheek. It helped, but not for long. My own reflection kept ruining everything. I started shaving more. Arms, legs, hands, toes, the backs of my fingers, the place between my eyebrows. Anywhere there was a shadow of hair, I attacked it. At first, it was once a day. Then twice. Then whenever I felt dirty, which was always, I used razors until they went dull and pink with rust. Switched to wax strips that burned my skin and left angry, raised patches. I tried bleach too, but the smell made me dizzy. One time I passed out with it still on my chin and woke up with blisters. My skin peeled in sheets. I looked like something that was molting. Still, I kept going. I started watching videos. Not makeup tutorials. Not hair care routines. Medical videos. Real ones. From hospitals. From surgeries. I watched scalp reductions and hair graft procedures. I memorized the names of tools, dermatome, forceps, bone scissors. I rewound the parts where they peeled the skin, zoomed in when they stitched it back down. It didn't gross me out. It made sense. I found a site that sold equipment, mostly for theatrical use, I think, but it looked real enough. I used Elise's debit card while she was in the shower. I knew her PIN. Everyone did. She never changed it. The kit came in a plain brown box. Scissors, glue, medical tape, scalp adhesive. I opened it like it was a gift, like I'd earned it. I waited until the house was empty. Then I got to work. I took out the envelope where I kept her hair, picked the longest pieces, brushed them out, smoothed them against my thigh. I parted my own hair as best I could, then started taping them in, one strand at a time. Sometimes two. It took hours. I didn't eat, didn't drink, just taped and pressed and held my breath. When I finished, I stepped back and looked in the mirror. If the room was dark and I squinted and I didn't blink, I looked like her. Not exactly, but enough. Enough for me. I started wearing it like that around the house. Only when no one was home. I'd flip it, twirl it, lean into mirrors just to see the way it moved. It didn't move the same way, but I pretended it did. And then I got bold. I wore it under a hoodie to school, just to see. Nobody said anything. Nobody noticed. Until gym class. The tape had gotten sweaty. It started slipping at the edge. I felt it tug when I ran, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. I just kept pretending. And then Brittany pulled it. She thought it was a prank. A joke. She laughed. Everyone else didn't. They just stared. And that's when they saw what I was becoming. I don't know when I started pulling. Maybe it was right after gym class. Maybe it was later that night, when I couldn't sleep, and the mirror wouldn't stop reflecting her face instead of mine. The hair didn't feel like it was enough anymore. Hers was too smooth, too perfect, too unattainable. Mine was just in the way. I started with my eyebrows, just one hair at a time. I'd stand so close to the mirror I could see every pore, every flaw. I'd pinch the tweezers, tug gently, feel that tiny sting, then move on to the next one. It gave me something to control. Then my eyelashes, that hurt more. They bled. They left red rings around my eyes, and the skin puffed up so much I could barely blink. My eyelids stuck together in the morning. Eventually my face didn't look like a face anymore. It looked swollen. Wrong. I avoided mirrors during the day, but I still found myself crawling back to them at night, just to see how much of me was left. Elise noticed. Finally, she didn't talk to me. She went straight to Mom. I heard them in the hallway. Her voice was low, but it carried, like she didn't even care if I heard. "She looks disgusting," she said. "Seriously, I think she needs a doctor or something." A doctor? I didn't need a doctor. I didn't need help. I needed hair. I sat on the bathroom floor with my knees pressed to my chest, listening to them whisper like I was a disease in the next room. My skin felt like it didn't belong to me anymore. Everything on my body had started to feel borrowed, temporary, except the hair. Hers. That was the only thing that felt real. That night, I went into the kitchen after everyone had gone to bed. I turned on the light. I opened the drawer. I found the biggest knife we owned and held it in both hands, like it was some kind of answer. Like maybe it could fix the way I felt inside. I didn't want to hurt anyone. That wasn't the plan. I just needed something permanent. Something that couldn't be ripped away or laughed at or exposed in front of a gym full of girls. So I scrubbed the blade under hot water. Then I poured alcohol over it, watched it drip down the sink, and then I waited, quiet, still, listening to the house breathe around me, because I knew what I was going to do. And this time, no one was going to stop me. I don't remember opening her door. My hand did it on its own, like it had rehearsed it 1,000 times. The hallway was dark, but her room, it always caught the light. Even the moon loved her more. She slept with her mouth slightly open, one arm thrown over her head, hair everywhere. It pooled around her pillow, like it belonged to someone in a painting. I just stood there, watching it shift with each breath she took. That color, it never looked real. Gold and silver all tangled together, soft as feathers, glowing like it had its own source of light. I used to think I hated her, but I didn't. I loved her. I really did. I just wanted to be her, not in a silly way, not dress up or copying her handwriting. I wanted it under my skin. I wanted it in my bones. I wanted to wake up and have her face. I wanted to walk into school and feel eyes follow me the way they followed her. I didn't want to disappear anymore. The knife felt warm in my hand. I don't remember walking over to her. I don't remember kneeling next to the bed, but I remember that sound. When the blade touched her scalp for the first time, she screamed. Loud, raw. She thrashed, tried to grab me. Her nails caught my cheek, but I held on. I kept going. The second time, she didn't scream. Her eyes stayed open, but the rest of her just stopped. There was so much blood. I hadn't planned for that. It soaked her pillow, her sheets, my shirt, but her hair was still beautiful. Even drenched. Even warm. I don't remember the stapler. I think I got it from Dad's office. I think I used a mirror in the hallway. I think I used my own fingers to press the edges into place. My scalp stung, burned, bled, but it fit. It fit perfectly. When I looked up and saw her reflection on my face, I smiled. For the first time in my entire life, I smiled. They found me in the garage. I was sitting on the concrete, right in front of Dad's old mirror, the one with a crack down the center. I don't know how long I'd been there. Could have been hours. Could have been days. My knees hurt. My nails were full of dried blood, and the tape had started to curl. The hair, her hair, was sliding down the side of my face, slipping off like wet leaves in a storm. I kept trying to press it back into place. I remember using both hands, palms sticky, forehead raw. I just wanted it to stay, just a little longer. They took me somewhere after that. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just remember the white walls and the way everything smelled like lemon wipes and old soap. No mirrors. No glass. No razors. They even check my fingernails. They still do. They say I'm not allowed sharp things. Or long sleeves. I overheard one of the nurses say I was a risk. I guess that means to myself. I guess that makes sense. Elise lived. That part still confuses people. They don't get how she survived. I don't either, really. She wears wigs now. Expensive ones. She gets them shipped from Italy. I saw one in a magazine. Blonde. Wavy. But it doesn't look the same. Her face changed. It's quieter now. She doesn't visit. They asked me once if I'd like to write her a letter. I said no. The hair they shaved off my head never grew back. At least, not the way it used to. There's this patch near my crown that always feels strange. Tender. I touch it sometimes, gently, like I'm afraid of waking something up, because sometimes, late at night, when everything's still, I feel it move, just a little, like it's shifting, or twitching, like it's remembering something. I try to lie still when that happens. I don't want to disturb it, because I think she's still in there, somewhere. I think she wants it back, and I'm not ready to give it up. I never thought I'd do something like this. Something so desperate, so wrong. But when you watch someone you love every day, wishing you could be them, it messes with your head. My sister Elise, she had the perfect hair. Golden, shining, everything I wanted. I started collecting her hair. Strand from her brush, her pillow, anything I could find. It wasn't enough. So I taped pieces to my scalp, try and become her, hoping no one would notice. But one day, during gym class, the tape slipped. Brittany pulled it, and everything was exposed. That's when it all went downhill. I started ripping out my eyebrows, eyelashes, anything to hide what I wasn't. Elise told Mom I was gross. She said I needed help. I didn't want help. I needed hair. That night, I took a knife, and I made a choice. Do you think obsession can change who we are, or does it just tear us apart? If you want to hear the whole story and find out what really happened, hit subscribe and stay with me. This isn't over. Not yet. Has anyone else ever felt like their own body was enough? Or that someone else's beauty was haunting you? Let me know what you think is really going on here. I'm curious to know if anyone has ever become someone else and survived.